friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you today. I am going to play again with this Floral Delight suite. I love all the papers that come with this and the vellum. They're beautiful. They give you a lot of flexibility and variations to work with. This, of course, is a stamp set with dies, and I'm going to focus on a whole bunch of dies today. I have been doing some die cutting just before I started this video, so you don't have to watch me crank this stuff out, because I'm going to play with all these flower dies. There are a lot of shapes. I'm going to show you a bunch of these. There are flower outlines, and then there's details to go on top, what I consider to be on top of the flower or in the middle of the flower. There are leaves that you can die cut and then layer, and I'm going to show you how some of this stuff can go together and some of the ways that you can use these today on what's going to look like a very, very detailed card. So let me flip this down to my work area here. And again, you can see all these dies. I am starting with a piece of designer paper. Again, pretty flowers. I'm going to run a banner across it and do something a little bit different, but I'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you I've been just die cutting like crazy. So I've got flower bases, some basic flower shapes. You know, they're stamps that can go with it if you would like. I'm going to do this two different ways. I'm going to go ahead and stamp inside and show you what the detail can look like, and that's just a two-tone flower. Here is Daffodil Delight on white. I've again taken crushed curry and put it on white. With some of these other flower bases, this one I already added a die cut, and I'm going to do the same with this. Some of these little tiny die cuts can make a really cute middle, insert into the flower. So I'm going to do that to this. And what you're about to see is that I'm going to switch to using my glue pen, because my fine tip glue pen, because there are so many little details to some of these. So I'm going to put these two together. I used contrasting yellows. So again, I've got crushed curry and I've got lemon lolly. There's like 3 different shades of yellows in the flowers here. So I'm just working with the colors already in the paper. And for this, I've tried it with the Tombow, the liquid glue, and you can do it. You just have to be really careful. So instead today, I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen here and just try to get it on the edges and some in the middle so it'll hold it down. And I'm just dotting. Again, it's the clear liquid glue. And now this doesn't line up perfectly. I mean, so it can go on a variety of different ways. And I think I've got a couple of them to show you here. So that's one way to do it. And you can see how that looks. I've die cut it in 2 different colors to show you. I'm going to trim this because I just saw I don't have quite the rounded edge here, which means either the die moved or I wasn't watching what I was doing. But I think it's going to be fine. So I've got Lemon Lolly with the details here, and then Daffodil Delight. So again, these have tiny little pieces. Let me see if I can poke some of those out with just a fingernail. But I'm going to use my fine tip glue again and make sure it's flowing and I get some on there. There we go. Dot it on, dot it on. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to line this up, sort of, and put it, so now I have two-tone, and that doesn't look like it has enough glue under it, so let's give it another squirt. Yep, I could see it. And sometimes with this, I do have to hold it just a couple of seconds to get it to adhere. So I've now got 2 contrasting flowers. I'm going to do, oh, then that popped right off. I may have to glue that down again later. Okay, but I'm showing you how you can layer these. I've now got the big flower, and again, this is Lemon Lolly and this is crushed curry, and I'm going to put this piece on top. Now this one is big enough that I feel like I can use my liquid glue. So I'm going to go back to that just because I can dot it on there. I can get some on the tips here to make sure that they're going to stay stuck and stay flat. A little bit of glue there. All right, and again, I can line this up a variety of ways. If I don't like it that way, I'm just going to give it a spin. I think I'm going to go this way. And now if I've got I see a couple of these little circles that didn't pop out, I'm just going to use my take your pick tool and pop those loose. There it goes. Okay, so that's a couple of ways for doing flowers, and I've got several here. I have a bunch I can choose from. Here's another one. Let's go ahead and do this as well. Put a dot of glue. Now I could be stamping on some of these as well, like I already did here. Here it'd be with these, but I think they're just kind of sweet. Now, if you don't want to do what I'm about to do, which is put some of these leaves together, I was die cutting two-tone colors. So I've got soft seafoam and old olive, and I've done it two different ways. Let me pick this up. And this goes together this way. So again, I think I'm going to try my Tombow, my liquid glue here, because I think I can dot it on the tips here. Yep. And get it where it needs to be to hold it down. And then I'm going to carefully line it up. And now I have a leaf, like I said, two-tone color. I did that in opposite. I've done 2 shades of green there. You can die cut with the double leaf and get something like this, and I die cut in old olive, and then I stamped over it. I'm not sure if that was old olive or a garden green or just something to give it some contrast. I did this in granny apple, and so you can see, you know, different shades of colors, but again, I was trying to go with the colors in my designer paper here. So I think I have enough parts and pieces to work with to assemble a card. So let me show you what I have in mind. I'm going to, I do need to stamp. The banner that comes with this is really sweet. It's just this narrow banner. I'm going to use that, and I am going to use old olive. I'm keeping in my theme here since my mat is old olive. And I'm just simply going to ink up the it says you all the best. You'll understand that in a minute when I add the word wishing. So it's wishing you all the best, just like that. And as I put this together, I'm going to get some of this out of the way, you'll begin to see what I mean. So I picked Daffodil Delight for my card base. I've got old olive under my pretty designer series paper, and then I have another piece of Daffodil Delight across here. What I'm thinking, and again, because I was die cutting, you'll see I have die cut the word wishing out of my mat. And so that is going to be hidden. You'll never know it was there. I now want to remove this. There are 2 dies that go with the words. There's one that's an outline, so it's bigger and fatter. And this is the cursive writing. And it's just stuck a little bit up here. So let's pop that loose. There we go. And it's very delicate. So you see I'm kind of gently pushing this out. So here's the word wishing. My thought was to put this behind it and then this over the top. Now, I didn't pay attention. And the eyes have these tiny little, there's one, dot. So I think I found it. So I have 2 of those. They are very tricky to place. Sometimes I find it's easier just to stamp the word wishing than to try to place those. But we're going to work with it today. I'm going to attempt to place those. So let me start building my layers. I'm going to put my designer series paper onto the frame. And see, I didn't have to haul up my stamping, embossing, die cutting machine to do all this because I just ran through a whole bunch of things at one time and layered it up. So I'd have a lot of parts to work with, because I think it's fun to assemble these flowers in all these different ways. So now I'm going to frame this, and you can see that my mat is a little less than my typical 4 by 5 1/4. I went just a smidge smaller, and then my designer series paper again is just a smidge smaller. So I have a wider yellow frame. Now I did just stamp Happy Birthday in the middle here, and this is a fun stamp set I've just started playing with. It's the With You in Mind. Has some great sentiments, and I like that they're the larger size, so it can be a focal point on a card, or it's great inside the card as well. So what I did want to do is add just a little something inside here. So let's do this. I'm going to stamp the flower, and I'm going to make this look, I want that, just a corner of it. And then again, I'm going to use the crushed curry. Let's ink that up and stamp on top of that and give this a little spin there. So now well, isn't that pretty? I've got flowers in the corners just to give it a little extra something on the inside. So let me adhere that to the inside of my card. This is the insert, and there's still plenty of room for somebody to write a message and add your own sentiment besides the happy birthday. Just like that. Frame it up on all sides, make it even. Okay, inside, outside. So now I'm going to start assembling. And I think what I want to do is just run this strip across here, like that. And then I'm going to add the word wishing. And I cut it just a smidge too short, but that's okay, because I'm going to put flowers there. I'm going to put something over there anyway. So now I'm going to put the word wishing, and I think I will just kind of center the major text as best I can. Now, again, this calls for the fine tip glue pen. I've tried it with the liquid glue and found this is just a little bit, I'm going to poke it in and out here. So I'm going to pretend I always have to use my finger to guide it in. Put the cap back on and poke it in and out in case I have a little bit of blockage, and see if it'll flow better. Just a little trick for using your fine tip glue pen. It was working fine the other day, but it's a little slow today. Okay, so again, I'm just dotting. It looks clear, but it's very shiny. So I can see where I'm placing it. I want to make sure I get, all these little tips and ends. And what I was saying was I have done it with the liquid glue, but I found that it was oozing out after I attached the word and, making it a little bit shiny on the card base. Still not wanting to flow real well, but I think I have enough on there. So let's see. Let's put the word wishing. And again, I'm probably going to have to hold this for a few seconds to make sure it's making contact. I think that's going to do it. And if I have to dab some under there later, I will do that. But I think maybe not quite enough. Yeah, it's parts, you see, it's a long piece. And so one end wants to stick and then the other end pops up. So let's see if I can get that to hold. And if not, I'm going to dab glue right under here. And I may have to go back to my Tombow. Yep, it held it for just a second and then it popped up again. So it is wanting to hold. I just have to give it a few seconds to make sure that there's enough glue making contact. Did not expect this to be so difficult today. But we all know sometimes with crafting, things don't go quite the way you anticipate. Now the other trick is if I need to see if there's a blockage. No, it looks clear. And it's squeezing, so there's not a blockage. It's just not, now it'll come out in a big glob. There we go. I've got more flowing now. Let's see if that will hold it. Hold it this way. Okay, let's see if that holds. Okay, and now because I have my little eyes here, I'm going to use, I took the tip off my Take Your Pick tool that has, and it stayed stuck in there. Wow, I'm just going to have all kinds of issues today, aren't I? I wanted to use the tip here for adhering the eye on the wishing. So let me see if I can get a tiny dot of glue to hold it, and then attach, yep, like that. And I'm not going to play with the other one right now. I'll play with that later. So you see what that looks like. And now I'm just going to add, I'm going to add the wishing you all the best. And I think I'm going to put that down here. And then I'm going to add flowers. So I have all these different creations that I can play with. And I think I'm going to put one there and one there. And because I've got these on the inside, I may want one of these out here too. So let's do that. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of ribbon. So again, this comes with the suite. It matches all the yellows here. So you can see how this card is coming together. And I'm going to just tie a quick bow. I don't know how big I want it. I don't think too big. And I may put that right on the side. So let me start gluing down here. I'm going to put this on the underside, so I'm going to glue that flat. Here we go. And then I'm going to put this one on top, and I could put this on with dimensionals. Let's do that. Grab just a couple of dimensionals so that it pops up off the card base. And then maybe a mini on that lower end, and I think I'll be good. Okay, pull off the backings like that, and put this back over like that. I'm going to put this one down flat, so here's my liquid glue again, just for simplicity. And then I need a glue dot. Luckily, I'll keep that box very handy. So let's grab a glue dot on the middle of the bow and put that on the edge of the card. And I'm okay with that overlapping. I think that's kind of sweet. So now, last thing, and again, this is kind of fun. I have done a couple of cards where I actually put dimensionals behind this. And this one I'm just going to put on flat. Wishing you all the best. So, what I need to do now is add my eye and maybe dab a little bit more glue under there, but you get the idea. Let me flip the camera here. Here's the card, wishing you all the best. I die cut and did some fancy flower work to add to the pretty paper, and then just put happy birthday on the inside. So this is a fun suite. There's a lot you can do with this, just so many different options. If you like the products and the projects you're seeing here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative, or I'm on the Stampin' Up! Network at Renee Keese at stampinup.net. Thanks for joining me today. Stay tuned for the next video.